Uh, Good day to all. Welcome. This is Marketing Research 7340. My name is Dr. Kays, and I'll be your instructor for this class. Hopefully, you have an opportunity to look over the syllabus and get familiar with some of the requirements and things that are needed to be successful in this class. This class is very stats intensive, so I recommend that you go ahead and if you're not too familiar or not too comfortable with statistics, just start, doing a little review on your own. Check out YouTube and just get a feel for what stats is about. All right. So this week we'll be covering chapters 1, 2, and 3. I also recommend and suggest that you read the book because all the things that you may need to know, I will not be discussing or covering. This is more or less to kind of gloss over or get you, or discuss, I should say, some of the topics that you should be reading on your own and getting familiar with on your own time, and as part of your learning education adventure. Okay, so unless you have any questions, anything you want to say, I will proceed forward. And again, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to reach out to me via email, text, whatever is most convenient for you. All right, thank you. All right, so why marketing? So my little clicker's not working. All right, let's do that. That's better. All right, so what is marketing? So marketing really in a nutshell, some of the things or the activities surrounding really trying to get your product or service out there, okay? Let people know about your product or service, the packaging, what it does, and what it could bring as far as value to the customer, right? That's really what it is as a whole, okay? Marketing is sometimes confused, or promotion, I should say, sometimes confused with marketing. When you do promotions, you're doing advertisements, billboards, and that kind of thing. And people always automatically assume that that's all that marketing entails, but it doesn't. Marketing is very, very big and has many different facets to it, many of which we will get into. And really, the things that we're going to talk about in this class will be the background, right? The not so sexy stuff about marketing. How do I come to the conclusion as to who to market to, how to market, some of the numbers associated with marketing? How do I conduct a survey? How do I pick my population? How do I know if my population is big enough, right? So those questions, those are things we'll be tackling in this class, all right? All right, so marketing concept, basically, just, like it says, a philosophy on how do we go ahead as a company, build some thought or vision as to how we're going to get our product or service to the customer, okay? It's all about the customer and providing value. How do I create value around a product or service in which the customer will pay me, all right, me as a company, to purchase that particular good or service, all right? Marketing strategy, right, really consists of trying to pick out the right place, the right group, the right thing, right, to sell, right? Just because something is available, all right, doesn't necessarily mean it's marketable. Think of, some of the singers or actresses that you know out there. Um, if you look at their whole body of work, it's not just about the music or the acting. There's a marketing aspect to it. There's a packaging aspect to it. They dress a certain way, they act a certain way, they speak a certain way. That's all marketing. How can I package the product or service so that it adds value to the customer, right? And also, part of that is, as it says in the definition, the distribution, right? How do I get it out to the customer, right? So all that is marketing. Right? Marketing research is really where you get to the nuts and bolts, right? It's the design, gathering, and analyzing, and then eventually reporting of information, right? That you're going to use in which to formulate a marketing strategy, right? Again, you're going to look at your product. You're going to figure out whether or not your product is marketable, whether or not you can create value, who to sell it to, who is your target market, right? Not everyone is going to buy everything. So who is going to buy your product or use your service? All right, some definitions. You could read this on your own. I'm not going to necessarily go through it and read it word by word. But basically, based on the American Marketing Association, this is the official definition. All right. Marketing or marketing research. So marketing research is different than market research, right? So marketing research basically is the actual, I would say, calculation, the actual analysis of the information or the data, right, in which you can get information, right? Market research is different, right? Market research is used to define the size, location, and or makeup of the market for a product or service. So when they say I'm doing market research, they're looking at the area or where we're going to target our product or service to, all right? We're kind of looking, okay, well, what's the market made of? Is it made of young people? Is it made of women? Is it made of, African Americans? What's the market look like, okay? And then based on that and looking at my marketing research, I can figure out if my product or service is going to work in that particular market. All right, marketing research links provide information that can be used in making marketing decisions. Right? So some of the uses of marketing research, right? Again, identifying opportunities and problems, okay? Generate, refine, and evaluate potential marketing actions, right? That's really at the core of marketing research. You're using all the information that you get once you collected your data and analyzed it to figure out, can I reasonably market this product and get it to the market and make a profit from it, right? That's really what it is, by adding value to it for the customer, right? And also, you can monitor marketing performance, right? You can see how a product is doing based on the research, right? That's what we really do. Well, once the product is out, we can look at it. Is it selling? Where is it selling? Who's buying it? How long are the buying periods? That kind of thing. Also, some marketing research studies are designed to find out what consumer problems are, right? So if you ever been to the mall, which I'm sure you have, you will probably find someone there who's doing some marketing research. Someone there with a clipboard and says, or asks you, do you have a minute to answer a couple questions? They're doing marketing research. They're asking for your opinion as a consumer about a particular product or service because they want to take all that data and then go back to their lab or go back to their facility, and they're going to analyze it. All right. Once they analyze it, then they can come up with some assumptions. They can come up with some conclusions, some inferences as to what or why the product is or isn't selling. All right. So I can't see my screen. Need to move it over a little bit. Please bear with me a minute as I shift this over. There we go. Okay. So marketing research also used to generate, refine, and evaluate potential marketing action. All right. Help you select target markets. Based on your research, you will know, okay, this is a good market for my product. All right. product research. You'll look at, again, the particular product and see, does it make sense? Does it make sense to, I don't know, sell a Lamborghini or have a Lamborghini dealership, say, in a middle-class neighborhood, right? Probably not, because most folks probably cannot afford it in that area. So again, looking at the product, does it make sense of where I'm going to place it, all right? Pricing. Am I trying to price the product too high, all right? Am I pricing myself out? If you have an item or product or service and you price it too high or too low, you may, one, be shorting yourself, or two, you may be pricing yourself out the market in where customers will not purchase your item because it is not an essential item. It's not necessary. It's more of a desire or want. It's not a need. And so part of marketing is to create a need, for at least the perception of a need for a particular product or service, right? Also, promotional research, right? As I said earlier, promotion involves advertisement, news spots, radio spots, that kind of thing. So you kind of look at, hey, where's the best place for me to promote my product, right? And the distribution research. How can I get my product out? What logistical mediums can I use, or channels can I use to get my product service out there to the market? Let's see. All right. You also can monitor marketing performance, all right? Track data collected at point of sale. So if you may or may not notice, when you go buy something, right, and we now have electronic registers or electronic electronic registers, for lack of a better term, that once it scans it, right, it automatically updates the inventory of the particular store or business. That also helps them to track what is being bought and sold, specifically what you're buying from the store, right? How many times do you buy it, right? How often do you come in? And when you do come in, what is it that you purchase, right? And so that has many uses or applications when it comes to monitoring marketing performance, right? And so once you get to, maybe just say, for instance, you go to Ralph's and you every 2 weeks you purchase toothpaste, toilet paper, and maybe fruits and vegetables, and that whatever that may be. If you pay attention and notice, you may get a coupon in the mail for those particular items, because the store, based on their research, based on the data they're collecting on you, realize like every 2 weeks you will come in and purchase those items. And they want you to continue to purchase items at those stores. So they will incentivize you to come in based on the information they have on you, okay? And also tracking social media, which has grown to be a huge part of marketing, right? Marketing has leveraged social media in a phenomenal way. And we see, how marketing really works via social media via Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook. All these particular platforms, these social media platforms, have been great for marketing, right? And they help companies track what people are purchasing, what people are interested in. And best part about it, it's real time, right? In most instances, it's immediate, it's in real time, and you can collect it easily without really having to do much work, right? It's just something that, as far as social media, it's inherent to the system, because once you click on something, boom, you've automatically been tracked. Once you go on a website, it automatically knows you went to the website, and they are counting every time that you go on there. Right? All right, so improve marketing as a process, right? So you got basic research and you have applied research, right? Basic research is just conducted to expand your knowledge rather than to solve a specific problem. Basic research is really there just to say, okay, I just want to know about something, right? I want to know about cars. I want to know about, shoes. I want to know about clothing. I want to know about particular foods, GMOs or the Impossible Burger. Right? What is that about? Applied research is different, right? Applied research, we're trying to come to some specific answer for a problem, right? We're really trying to understand what is going on, right? So we look at a problem and we say, what is it that is making this problem occur, right? Maybe how can I fix it? Is there a fix, right? And so when we do applied research, this is what we're kind of aiming for, right? So basic research and applied research, right? All right, so most research studies, of course, are done to understand and at the end of the day, we want to predict consumer behavior, right? We want to know if we can figure out what you're going to do next week, right? Are you going to purchase this next week? Can I say with some certainty that I know what you're going to buy for the most part, okay? And that's what we're trying to do is marketing research. We're trying to figure out people's buying or purchasing behaviors, right? So when we get down to MIS, and Management Information System, and again, you should take a look at the book to familiarize yourself with the MIS. You probably are not familiar with any unless you're in the industry working with these particular softwares. So just make sure you take a look at the book and try to understand MIS is like any other information system, is there to gather data, sort it, analyze it, evaluate, and distribute it, okay? It's basically a repository. You take the information or data, you keep it there, you crunch it, and then you kind of, get a report and you look at to see what is it that it's telling me? What is the data saying, okay? And that way I can make decisions based off of that particular information at that point. All right, so now we're gonna go into chapter 2. All right, so here we more or less talking about the background or the history of marketing. Oh, excuse me. So Charles Parlin, okay, is really considered the father of marketing research, okay? And let me see here. I need to move this one more time, sorry. All right. So as you can tell, the purpose of his research was, again, to increase advertising for the Post magazine, right? So here we see marketing research being used to increase purchases, okay? Increase advertising, to get advertisers to go ahead and post into the, or at least subscribe or want to pay to be part of the magazine, right? Because if you have a magazine that's popular, right, and people are consistently buying it, then it makes sense for me to have advertisement in it, because then people will see my advertisement and they will come and they will buy from my store. All right, so industry growth. All right, the Industrial Revolution changed a lot of things, okay? So from an agrarian society where most people were farmers and that kind of thing, we moved over to the Industrial Revolution, which led to manufacturing, producing goods for distant markets, right? So again, we're manufacturing in one place, but shipping it out or sending out elsewhere, right? Nothing new, no novel concept, as far as no new concept here. We do it all the time. This is a basis of our economy, right? We ship stuff out that's built someplace else, right? And so that's kind of how things go, right? So manufacturers, though, wanted to know, how did customers that weren't in their local area, how did they act, right? What did they want? Okay, they wanted to know their characteristics. What is it they demanded, or what they desired, right? And the only way to do that was to do market research, right? But you had to be in the local area. If outside your local area you had no idea about what people wanted, right? That's a very short place, or very short span of space in which to sell your product or good. And at some point, you probably will saturate the market, okay? So during the 20th century, the marketing research grew, right? And now you can tell Nielsen and Gallup, I'm sure you're familiar with the Gallup poll, pretty popular and well-known poll, right? Alfred Pollitz was kind of the leader in statistical sampling theory, all right, which we'll get into sort of, but we'll talk about that later on down the line, right? And then computers, again, when we look at technology, right, help to really boost the industry, okay? Between the data analysis, between the tracking data and the online services, computers once again right, at the very onset, change how people did statistics, did how they did research. Because now we could compute and calculate things a whole lot faster than a human could, right? And so we see that playing out today, where technology really propels and makes us more efficient, right, in the jobs that we're doing. It adds or provides us information at a much quicker and faster rate than a person could. So who conducts marketing research, right? So we have what we call the client-side research, right? That's organizations that supply their own marketing research information. So basically, they do their own research. They don't source it out. They don't go elsewhere. Excuse me. They have actual, that's their business. That's what they do, okay? Within that, they have internal suppliers. They have departments or individuals that conduct research internally, right? And then they have DIY research, right? That is facilitated by the internet, right? Firms have access to secondary data, and secondary data is data that you don't collect yourself, but you get it from another source, right? Because you haven't actually done the research, but you know someone who did the research, and you take that information. Online survey platforms, and also what we call SPSS, which you will become familiar with. SPSS is a piece of software, statistical software, that does many great things. It's produced or made by Microsoft, excuse me, by IBM, not Microsoft, by IBM. And it's probably one of the preeminent tools when it comes to statistics. All right. Now you have supply side research, where external suppliers hired to fulfill a company's marketing research needs, right? So now I'm going out and I'm outsourcing this particular marketing research need, right? I'm not doing it in-house. I'm asking another company to come in, hey, can you do some market research for us, right? Because we don't have the capability, maybe we don't have the time, we just don't have the capacity to do it, right? These firms, specialize in marketing research, right, and offer its services to buyers needing information, right? So basically, hey, you go someplace, can you help me out here? Because I can't do it myself. Sure. So that's supply side research, okay? So you have client side research and supply side research. Client side is internal, supply side is external, right? Or outsourcing or seeking research. All right. An example of a digital dashboard, and you should be familiar with digital dashboards. You have one that you use all the time, your Moodle, all right, that you can see all the things that are going on in the class, what your requirements are. Then you can go look at your grades and then all the deliverables. So digital dashboard you should be really familiar with and should not be something that is new to you. Okay. So firms in the marketing research industry differ by size and type and specialty, excuse me, right? So you can have big marketing firms or marketing research, small ones, medium-sized ones, and then depending what it is their niche is, right, what it is they're offering, they'll be associated with that particular thing, right? So the top 10 global market research firms, Nielsen Holdings, pretty familiar one, all right? And I think that's it. I think all the other ones you probably wouldn't be familiar with unless you were in the industry, all right? Nielsen Holdings is the only one I'm really familiar with. All the other ones, not familiar with, but that's not really of a consequence, right? You look at the number of employees and how well they're doing, there's a lot of money in marketing research. All right, so industry structure, types of firms and their specialty. You have full service firms, excuse me, you have limited service firms. So full service have the capability to conduct entire projects for a company or for an individual or organization. Limited service supplier firms, right, specialize in one area, maybe two, where they're really focused in on and they can offer you a high quality product, but only in a certain area. They can't cover the whole gamut. They're just, maybe they're good at doing data collection. Maybe they're good at analyzing the target market. Maybe they're good at I'm not sure analysis. So they'll figure out, or they'll let you know which area they're good at, and then they will in turn do that part of it, and then have to maybe parse out the rest or not deal with it at all. Full service, of course, different. They can do it all. Okay. So major types of marketing research services, okay? So syndicated data services, package services, customized service. Again, go take a look in your book, read the type of different research services that are out there, all right? You'd be surprised about the variety and the vast depth of marketing research that's out there and that you might be familiar with. Okay. So challenges facing marketing research. Three major challenges are, all right, new and evolving sources of data and methodology. So this is always the case, I think, as technology is always changing. We are always looking to see where can we get new information and how can we go about getting that information, right? What are the methods in which we employ to get information, right? Need for effective communication of results, right? How do I get the results out there in a manner in which one is understandable, right? And also correct, right? One of the things about research is that you don't want to falsify, you don't want to mislead individuals. And so communication, in many respects, is very much something at times of perception. How do I perceive this message? How am I receiving it, right? And so we have to find an objective way in which to effectively communicate the results to consumers or right? In any industry, you always want to get the best talent and you always want to get the best employees, okay? All right. So industry initiatives, right, to address these challenges, right? Establishing best practices, right? Let's get together and let's see what is the most efficient, what works best, right? And let's go ahead and compile that into some sort of document or some sort of place where it resides, a central location, right? Maintaining public credibility, right? That's something important because you don't want the public to think that you are just throwing numbers out there or, as you say in accounting, cooking the books, okay? We don't want to manipulate numbers, all right? We want to let the public know, and they should trust us that the research is being done in a ethical and moral fashion, okay? The information that's being communicated to them is based strictly and solely off the research and not based on anything else. We want to monitor industry trends, okay? And also, as I said before, improve ethical conduct, right? This is key because if people don't trust you, doesn't matter what you say, they will always look at you skeptically if they feel like the information that you're conveying is not honest, is not forthright. All right. So some of the codes and conducts, all right, fair dealings with respondents, fair dealings with clients and subcontractors, maintain research integrity and concern for society. Again, go to the book, take a look at these different categories on how you deal with respondents, clients, subcontractors, research integrity, and society, okay? These are all just codes of conduct. How do we behave, right? What is the decorum that we will follow for each one of these categories? All right. Let's see, we will skip that. Okay. And so now we're going to get into chapter 3, where we talk about marketing research process and defining the problem. Okay. Go here. All right. So these are the learning objectives. Again, like I said, please take an opportunity, go through each chapter, read each chapter, okay? Skim it at best, all right? Or at worst, I should say, all right? Take some time to read the chapters and get some of this information in addition to what we're doing here on the Zoom, but it really would be beneficial for you to take some time to read. All right, so here we have steps in the marketing research process. Now, this is not a hard and fast step-by-step way to do research, okay? Some steps, depending on the situation, you will skip. There are steps that aren't here that you will have to implement based on the project that you're doing. So don't get wrapped around the axle as far as steps 1 through 11, have to execute each one and not be adaptable to making changes where necessary. All right, so as I said before, okay, the step-by-step process, not always presented as the 11-step process. Excuse me, not all steps used in studies, okay? In actuality, few studies follow the steps in order. So what I said previously, I just got supported, right? Okay? So again, these steps are a guide, not something that you have to follow per se. But if you follow these 11 steps, you're probably on the right path, okay? That's really what it boils down to. Here's a guide, here's a plan, right? But know when to adapt, deviate, flex on the plan because it may call for something else. All right, so where we are, all right? So again, 11 steps, all right? And for the most part, you as doctoral students, you kind of have the research process down, right? The scientific method kind of down, okay? So again, it's about what the problem is, okay? If there's a problem, okay? What are your objectives, okay? How are you going to get to your objectives, right? How are you going to collect the information, right? Where are you going to get the information from? Once I've collected it, right? How am I going to analyze it? Once I analyze it, how am I going to, kind of produce or convey my results or present my results, okay? All right. So I'm not going to go through each step 1 through 11, all right? Again, I would like for you to go read the book, right? This is probably maybe 1 or 2 points in the course where you'll have the opportunity to read something and have a very clear understanding of it without me explaining it. The remainder of the course probably is going to be more technical, or not probably, is more technical, and will require me and you to study a little bit harder, right, for me to explain a few more things. But at this point right now, you should really go read the book to see each step and get an understanding of what the steps entail, all right? So, need for marketing research, all right? Define the problem, establish your objectives, determine research design. So this part is important because you really want to figure out what kind of research are we doing here. Is it exploratory, where it's something that we're getting information about that's pretty new and no one's really done any research on it? And so we're the first kind of, first movers in there and trying to figure out, okay, what's going on with this, all right? Is it descriptive research, right? We're trying to describe a new phenomenon or a phenomenon, okay? Something that's particularly interesting to someone or to society, and we're trying to give it a couple of labels and some characteristics, right? And then causal studies, right? What makes things happen? How does A affect B, all right? Okay, so different types of research designs, all right? Identify information types and sources, primary information and secondary information. As I said before, you have, primary data and secondary data, right? So primary data is data that you collect specifically for your issue or for that particular research, but you do it yourself. Secondary information or data is information or data that you've gotten from someone else or some other entity has collected information. You did not firsthand or personally do the research. Okay, we talked about secondary data. Okay, the primary data is more complex because you are actually at the moment collecting the information, and you have to kind of use your common sense and abide by the rules as you're collecting your data. Secondary data, someone already did the work for you. Okay, so you're basically just taking that information, knowing that it's sound, knowing that it's objective, knowing that it's been ethically done, so you're going to roll with it. All right, design data collection forms. Could be questionnaire, could be focus group, right? And it could be observation, right? Depending on what kind of research you're doing, what your aim is, you could use any one of these techniques to collect your data, right? All right, so samples, right? When you do your research, you're going to select a sample, right, from your population, right? And we'll get more into that later on down the line, okay? But a sample is a piece of a population, all right? Yes, you can study a population but in all actuality, it's very difficult to study the entire population. And I say population, don't think just about population as being human beings or people. Think about population as anything or group of things you're looking at, okay? So for an example, if I have a pizza pie, right? I get it from Domino's or Papa John's, whatever the case may be, and I want to study the pizza, right? And some of the characteristics associated with the pizza, that pizza is the population. A slice of the pizza is what we would consider the sample, right? And based on the sample, I'm assuming that because the sample came from the population, that the population and the sample have the same or at least similar characteristics, okay? And so that will tell me something about the population because I can sample, right, a slice. All right. All right. Non-sampling errors, okay, and will occur. So researchers will know the sources of these errors, right? And just non-sampling errors are basically mistakes you make as a researcher, as a normal person, all right? You just make mistakes, bad calculations, and that kind of thing, right? I fat fingered it. I pressed the wrong number. Something got erased. Who knows? I lost a piece of data. It's a number of things, but those are non-sampling errors, okay? Research aim to minimize this possibility by undertaking a control referred to as validation, okay? And companies specialized in data collection are referred to as field service firms, excuse me. And then the data analysis piece, right? Pretty clear cut, okay? This is when you go in and you try to figure out, okay, what's the data saying, okay? How do I analyze data? What's the best statistical test for me to use to get the most out of my data, okay? So again, we will get into that, all right? Then reporting, all right? Now I've done all the other steps and I wanna let people know exactly what it is I found, okay? And so you do your reporting, all right? Define the problem, okay? Problem situation call for managers to make choices among decision alternatives. You're always going to have a problem, okay? You're always going to have a problem. So some of the steps, you know, for defining a problem, right? You're going to recognize the problem, right? Is there a problem, right? Understand the background of the problem, right? See, get some context as to what's going on, right? Determine what needs to be done, okay? Identify what additional information you need, right? What else do I need to help me make a good informed decision so that what? I can formulate the problem statement, okay? Because once I formulate the problem statement, then I'm ready to tackle the problem, okay? I'm ready to tackle the problem. So take an opportunity, look at the process, okay? Look at these subsets of each category within the process for defining a problem. Research objectives, okay? Tell us exactly what information would be collected to solve the problem, okay? By facilitating selection of an alternative, all right? So we'll get into null hypotheses and alternative hypotheses, okay? It's coming up next, but we'll talk about it later on down the road, okay? All right, research objectives, specify from whom information is to be gathered, specify what information is needed, specify the unit of measurement, and then work questions to gather information using respondent frame of reference. This all leads to your questionnaire building, right? And picking your sample, right? Where are you going to sample from? You know, how are you going to sample? What information are you going to need from your sample, and how are you going to measure it, right? What's the measurement going to consist of, right? And the measurement, whatever unit measurement you pick, needs to be consistent throughout. Right? So here's a table that kind of outlines formulating research objectives, statements of questions. Again, we will get into questionnaire building, right, which is extremely important and can be very difficult at times. There are people that actually, this is what they do. They build questionnaires, right, as their job. They focus on that, right? It's very difficult to write a questionnaire and not make a mistake if you don't know what you're doing. All right. As I said before, we talked about hypotheses, all right? And hypotheses are just statements that we say or we think are true. What do I think is going to happen? What do I hypothesize, okay? I think the sky is blue. or I think the sky's purple, okay? Based on a construct, right? Abstract ideal concept, right? Based on a composite set of attitudes or behaviors that are thought to be related, okay? So basically a construct is just, hey, we have a social construct of race, right? Of black, white, that kind of thing, right? They're ideas, but not necessarily I would just there's no scientific reason as to why they are, right? There's no scientific reason as to why someone is black, why someone is white, right? And the categorization of those particular individuals, right? They're still human beings, but in order to categorize them, we build a social construct of race, okay? And then what's the unit of measurement? What's the proper frame of reference? So again, we will get more in depth into these topics, and along the line, you will start to get a better understanding of what is going on, right? So if you don't define a problem correctly, your research will be in vain, okay? And this really calls for thorough analysis, right? Making sure that the problem that you're trying to define makes sense. Is it a problem, right? Is this something that I can feasibly answer? Okay, there's certain things that we just don't have the technology, we don't have the understanding of things yet. Not to say that you can't do research on it, not to say that there's not a problem, right? But you have to define the problem correctly, all right? All right, an action standard, pre-designation of some quantity of a measured attribute or characteristics that must be achieved for research objective for predetermined action that takes place. So basically it's a prereq, okay? That's really what it is, all right? I have to have something set, right? An assumption or some rule that's already set that I know has to happen or is required, and then I can go on and do the research, okay? Or I can go on to meet this objective, right? And we'll get into assumptions and that kind of thing later on down the line where we're doing our statistics, right? Because there's certain assumptions that I make when I'm analyzing my data about the data, okay? The marketing research proposal, okay, just serves as a contract, right? And market research proposal delivered to the client with some consideration, typically for a fee, right? Of course, it's just a proposal. The things that you found in your research, you're presenting it to your client, and so you put in the proposal format, okay? You lay it out. You lay it out in layman's terms. You don't lay it out in scientific or statistical terms, because the client probably won't understand what's going on for the majority of things. So once you've done your research, then you take that research and you put it in an understandable, coherent, very succinct proposal that the customer can then just digest and understand what's going on, what the problem is, what they need to fix the problem, how much it's going to cost to fix the problem, maybe what is costing them to have this problem, and then if you can figure out what kind of decision they want to make, right? We talk about RFP, or invitation to bid. Again, a lot of contracting here, or a little bit of contracting, I should say, right? But regular business stuff, when a client or a organization goes out and requests services, right, to any other entity, they're asking for a proposal, RFP, request for proposal. Please, this is my issue. This is what I need. Please submit your proposal on how you can help me, okay? Or invitation to bid, kind of the same thing. All right. So within the market research proposal, you have the statement of the problem, the objectives, the method, the deliverables, okay, the cost, and the timetable, right? So basically, you have all the things. This is your problem. This is, what we did as far as looking at the things that we think are part of your problem. This is how we went about tackling your problem, okay? How we came to some of the conclusions we did, right? Here are all the things that we found, okay? These are, exhibit A, exhibit B, exhibit C. This is how much it's going to cost to fix your problem, okay? And it's how long it's going to take, right? So basically, things we do in life all the time, okay? if you're here at school, right? What was your problem? Well, I wanted to get a doctorate, right? Maybe not a problem per se, but that's really what it is you want to do, right? The research objective, I want to get a doctorate, right? But at the same time, the objectives of the doctor, attain a doctorate is I got to go to class, right? I got to find money for it. I got to find, all these things. Now, how do I go about doing each one of these things? How do I go about reaching each one of the objectives, right? And then deliverables is more like, hey, I'm in class, I'm turning in my homework, I'm doing my my assignments, I'm doing my learning engagements, I'm doing my case studies, right? And then the costs associated with those things, right? How much does it cost for you to, go to school, right? And how long is it going to take? Okay, how long is it going to take for me to graduate? All right, so at this time, we are done with chapters 1, 2, and 3. I know it's fast, down and dirty, but at the end of the day, really, this is really a good foundation, but it's just a quick glance or of the wave tops of marketing, some of the easier things we're going to deal with, right? And so we looked at the marketing, the background of marketing, the marketing research proposals. We looked at, how, different components of it, okay? We looked at why marketing is important and some of the aspects of different marketing and that kind of thing, right? So please, again, take the time, go through the book, go through the chapters. Also, if you haven't, had a chance, go to YouTube or Google SPSS, okay, and just play around with it, okay. Well, I think we may have access to it, but I'm not sure. I have to find out. But go and take a look at SPSS early now and try to familiarize yourself with it right now. Just play with it, okay? All right, so this concludes the presentation. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to me via email, text, whatever is most convenient for you, all right? I hope you have a good day, and please read, study, turn in your work, and I will talk to you next time.